Actually, we have to start.
Yes, sir. So, good evening, everyone. I would like to extend a heartfelt welcome to each and every one of you who has joined us today on this webinar, which is AI and data science in auditing. Your presence underscore your presence underscores the significance of the topics which we will be exploring in this session. And I would like to take a moment to express my sincere gratitude to our parental body, ICAI, and the president of ICAI, CA Aniket Sunil Tulatiji, and Vice President CA Ranjit Kumar Agarwal sir, and the president of SAFA, CA Nihar Jambu Saria sir, and the chairman of Digital Accounting and Auditing Board, ICAI, CA Charanjot Singh Nanda sir, for their unwavering support and for taking this initiative to organize this webinar. It is through this collaborative efforts like these we can grow professionally and we can align our profession with the technological advancements which are happening in the different industries. So today's event represents an exciting opportunity for us to dive into the transformative impact of artificial intelligence and data science in the auditing profession. Distinguished speakers and panelists will be sharing their insights and experiences on the latest trends, challenges, and opportunities in this rapidly evolving landscape. And we encourage the active participation from all the participants. So please feel free to ask any questions and try to engage as much as you can in this discussion throughout the session. So, thank you all once again for joining us today. And now I would like to pass on the mic to CH Ranju Singh Nanda sir, who has an impressive and extensive track record in world finance and accounting. And he is serving as the chairman of Digital Accounting and Assurance Board of ICAI, and he is also the chairman of Internal Audit Standards Board, ICAI. And thank you, sir, for joining us. And the virtual floor is now all yours.
Thanks a lot, Akshdeep. A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am truly honored to be amongst you on this exciting session on artificial intelligence and data science in auditing. It is, in fact, my proud privilege to welcome CA Anvay Pranjpe and CA Deepak Tayal, both pioneers in this field, to take you through the journey how you could be transformed into a tech-savvy chartered accountant. Ladies and gentlemen, your board, the Digital Accounting and Assurance Board, is scaling near heights day by day. 1st July, mark the date, 1st July 2023, your board came with 23 forensic standards. Yes, which are only by your board in this globe. There is no forensic standard in this globe. Apart from that, for 3 months, we had a marathon exercise of engaging 150 chartered accountants in groups who created an implementation guide on all those 23 forensic standards. The guide was subject to a screening committee. Once the screening committee went through it, it was exposed to the expert committee. And then 3 formal legal reviews. And then came the guide for the benefit of all of you. The board is very excitedly working. And under the presidency of Shri Nihar and Jammu Saria, the chairman SAFA, who has always extended his mentorship on this board. I happen to be the chairman of IT committee of 7 countries of SAFA. Mr. Jammu Saria, our own past president, has been very keen in ensuring that technology be taken to household. And moving in this direction, we have come out with a very ambitious program. The name of the program is Technology for Non-Technology Professionals. Yes, there are several chartered accountants who intend to contribute, but they may not know technology. And for them, we have brought this great program, Technology for Technology. Now, coming on to today's program. Our today's program is designed to create value add in terms of artificial intelligence and data science in auditing. Two of the speakers would bring to you the greatest worth in terms how you could transform yourself into a data scientist. The people say that in today's time, there is no worth of gold, there is no worth of oil, there is no worth of land. The entire worth is of data. But with a caveat, if you have data, you should know how to extract value from data. As internal auditors, as consultants, we are answerable to the board or to the audit committee, as the case may be. What we present to them is very important. And therefore, data analytics brings out exception reporting, something that could add value to the entire board and steer them, pioneer them to create value and worth and ensure that shareholding maximizes. And for that, we need to work. Coming on to the concluding round of my welcome address, I would like to tell you, people are now confused. They want to understand technology, yet they don't want to become technology savvy. I'm reminded of a couplet in this regard. The couplet says, तमाम के तमाम शहर बसाकर सुकून के लिए गांव ढूंढते हैं. तमाम के तमाम शहर बसाकर सुकून के लिए गांव ढूंढते हैं. कितने नादान हैं हम, हाथ में कुल्हाड़ी लेकर छांव ढूंढते हैं. We have to be on equal ground. We need to benchmark our thought processes to create value and worth towards betterment of our profession, which is one of the most greatly sought after profession, and we have to take our institute to unprecedented heights. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would stop here. I have two of the very revered speakers, and more importantly, the President Safa, CA Nihar Jammu Sariya, has been kind enough to come here. So I would give the dais back to Akshdeep so that he could invite our Honorable CA Nihar Jammu Sariya, President of Safa. Akshdeep, the dais is all yours now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for an enlightening session. And your insights have been invaluable. And we appreciate your time and expertise. And now we are honored to welcome CA Nihar Jambu Sariya, sir, who is the president of South Asian Federation of Accountants. And with the wealth of experience and expertise in the field of accountancy and distinguished records of contributions to the profession, his leadership promises us to guide in this new era of excellence and innovation. And we are honored to have him today. So let's please welcome CA Nihar Jambu Sariya, sir.
Thank you, Akshdeep. Good evening, everybody. Chairman of the Information Technology Committee, CA Charanjot Singh Nandaji, who is also chairman of Digital Accounting and Assurance Board at the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Today's renowned speakers, my apology that some noise is coming from outside, but there is some event going on where I am at present, so I can't help it, but I will conclude my...
No, Nihar sir, it is totally quiet. No noise is coming. Sir, please go ahead. Nothing coming on this.
Yeah.
Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, let me thank Nandaji for once again organizing a program on artificial intelligence, particularly the importance of data. You rightly put that data is equivalent to the most precious metal, that is gold. Data is also being compared in today's scenario with oil, which is also very precious. So oil or gold, whatever you may call it. But so far as auditing profession is concerned, with expectations of society, government, and every stakeholder going up, from the chartered accountants, from the auditors, and they have started expecting that auditors would examine more and more records, virtually the entire record, and give the report, which is possible only with the help of data, and that too structured data. And for this purpose, Institute is also promoting use of data analytics tools for the purpose of auditing. And I'm sure that all these webinars in a series which this committee has organized under the leadership of Nandaji must be helping all the members of SAFA countries so much that they will be able to keep up with the new developments which are going on in the field of information technology. They will be able to use data to the best advantage when they carry out audits. So with this, once again, I thank the committee, thank Nandaji for organizing this program. And I'm sure that you will continue to train members on data, on artificial intelligence, so that they use data to the maximum extent and they see that the defaults in auditing come down to a level which is expected by every stakeholder. So with this, thanks once again for inviting me. It was a pleasure to be here, and I'm sure that participants are waiting for speakers to guide them on use of data tools for the purpose of auditing, where expectations have gone so much up. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable insights. And now we would like to extend a warm welcome to our CA Anvay Pranjab sir, our esteemed guest today. He brings a wealth of experience in technology, auditing, security, and compliance, with a strong background in ERP implementation like SAP and Oracle. And over the past 3 years, he has been at the forefront of data analytics and driving actionable insights of his company. Notable as he's also led teams in streamlining business processes using user-friendly softwares. And we are excited to have him today. And we look forward to learning from his experience and expertise during today's webinar. So please welcome CA Anvay Pranjab, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thanks everyone and a warm good evening. This is Chartered Accountant Anvay Paranspe. First of all, let me thank the Digital Accounting Assurance Board of the ICAI, Mr. CA Charanjit Singh Nandaji, as well as Nihar Jambusaria ji. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk to a large chartered accountant panel. It's an honor for me. Let me quickly kind of give some information about me. So I've been in the industry for about 25 years, spent a lot of time in the US and then some in India. Done a mix of things focused on finance and auditing, but with a technology flavor. So I started off with a lot in ERP implementations, did implementations and support of SAP and Oracle installations. Then I've also worked a lot in technology auditing as well as process auditing, and then in GRC. And in the last few years, I became a data scientist. I think 2021 is I turned into a data scientist, did advanced certification in data sciences, and since then I've deeply been involved in data analytics as well as some part in artificial intelligence. And I'm taking this opportunity to share my learnings with the chartered accountant fraternity on both these topics, data analytics as well as artificial intelligence. With that, let me share my screen. Okay, so the agenda for this discussion is I'm going to spend time talking about the concepts of analytics or data analytics, and I'm going to spare some time on artificial intelligence. As you guys know, the word analytics and artificial intelligence is out there. It's the new buzzword, right? And there's a lot of concern that's going on in various industries, not just in auditing industry. It's shaken up the entire world with data scientists making comments that artificial intelligence is going to replace human beings, right? So is it really going to replace human beings is a big question, and we'll talk about it as we go. But what's important to know is we first need to understand what AI is, what analytics and data sciences is, right? We will also talk of some few use cases in accounting and auditing as we talk about the concepts and how it can be put to use. A couple of disclaimers. Number one, this is a vast topic. Even if you want to undergo any kind of training, right, any kind of certification in analytics or in AI, it's anywhere between a 1 to 3 year degree, right? So it's a vast topic. I'll try my best to kind of do justice to this topic in an hour or so. Number one. Number two, the views that I express in this session are purely personal. It has no relevance to any of the organizations that I worked for or I work for currently, right? So with that, let's jump into the topic. So as Mr. Charanjit Singh, Nandaji as well as Niharji mentioned, right, data is exploding, right? Data is getting generated in every aspect of our daily life. As soon as we wake up, most of us, or I'm sure many of us, the first thing we do is we pick up our phone in our hand, send messages on WhatsApp, we are checking Facebook, we are checking LinkedIn, and so on. And in this process, we are creating data, number one. Number two, beyond social networking, payments, look at UPI. UPI has changed India in terms of all financial transaction, or so many financial transactions have moved out of cash and getting into UPI, which is really digitization of financial payments. That's also triggering a lot of data. And not only that, every aspect of our lives is turned by digital. Even a simple case of an appliance not working at home. A few years back, if let's say your washing machine was not working, what would you do? You would call up, the nearest store, or call up the electrician and call him home. Now things have changed. The way to file a complaint, or register a complaint, or an appliance not working, is go to a website or go to a chatbot and register a complaint. So that's again digitization of day-to-day transaction. So that's on the personal front. On the business front, I don't need to explain this, but there is hardly any aspect, any function of a business that is not digital. Finance had gone digital many years back. Marketing, sales, name it. HR, everything is now digital. Every function uses some kind of an application or some kind of a system that's generating a ton of data. So much so that even employee appreciation is now gone digital. If you think about what used to happen a few years ago, if you want to appreciate one of your employees for a job well done, we used to have a group meeting, get into a conference room, and we used to appreciate him. We used to have a pat on his back, right? And we used to, that's the way for appreciation. But now things have changed in this remote working world, where it's either a hybrid working model or a remote working model. We don't have time, or we don't get the privilege to meet people. So what are we doing? Right. So we are sending emails to the employees saying, hey, you are now the star of the quarter, right? That's generating emails, which is nothing but data. So every aspect of business is now going digital. And it's becoming, not only that, business is becoming complex, and so is the data, right? So I was just working on a proposal last week where sales commissions, right? The way sales commissions are being calculated are now growing extremely complex. Leadership is giving various kind of incentives to sales teams and giving them in different shapes and forms, and the basis of calculation has changed. Earlier, if you do a deal, you would get a specific sales percent, but now the metrics has changed. It's not only did you win the deal, but how long did the client stay with us? This is just a simple example, but there's complex contracts going with salespeople, and pretty much every aspect of business is becoming complex. Just so you understand how much data is getting generated, and you can research this, the approximate data that is getting generated in this world every day is about 328 million terabytes. That is humongous, and data scientists will tell you, well, it's still not humongous, it's still growing. And that's where the term big data was coined. Data is growing like anything, and every business, every person is now dealing with big data. So much so that one of the big businesses that is coming up is data centers. Since lockdown, as you know, a lot of commercial offices are empty. People are working from home. So a big business in real estate has turned into convert the commercial office into a data center. Data centers are coming up all over the world, right? And the need for data center is because of growing data. Where do you store all the data? It has to be in a data center. It has to be in a server. So the business of data centers is growing. Now, in terms of what data is generated, and this now let's get, I'm getting a little bit into some of the conceptual part. So what is the types of data that is getting generated? In data sciences, we always say there is 3 types of data that is generated. One, the common, which is in business, is structured data. So what is structured data? So if you think about a database, right, which is a relational database like a SQL server, right? Any financial transaction, a sales entry, it is structured in a very proper way. There are fields, there are columns, and there are values. So that's structured data. So example of a journal entry is a structured data. It's got the date, it's got the amount. You can be very sure what will be the structure of the transaction. So that's what's called structured data in data science. Number 2 is semi-structured data. An example is your XML file. So those of you who have filed income tax returns, there's ways to kind of load an XML file, or if you have filed company returns, right? This is very common. It's also called JSON file, which is basically a combination of a key value pair. The list of fields is not fixed, unlike a journal entry, which always has a date, which always has an amount, which always has a GL account. In semi-structured data, it may not always follow this pattern. It may have 2 or 3 fields or 4 fields. It changes. So that's what is meant by semi-structured data. Number 3 is unstructured data. And in unstructured data, everything which is like text, text messages that you send to someone, images that you upload, videos that you upload is unstructured, because every text, every image is different from each other. There's no fixed structure to it, and that's why it's called unstructured data. So this is on some of the, I'm getting into, as I mentioned, I'm getting into some of the basics, which is what are the 3 types of data in data science: structured, semi-structured, and unstructured. What earlier structured was growing, now unstructured is growing faster, especially because of social networking as well as retail shopping. Now, another important characteristics is of big data, right? There are 4 important, as they call 4 important V's of data. What are the V's? First is the volume of data that is getting generated. So when I mentioned 328 million terabyte generated every day, that's the volume, right? The volume is growing. The data is always measured by what's the volume coming in. Second is the velocity. Velocity is the speed of data generation, right? Is it 328 million in a day, in a week, in a month? That's what is meant by velocity. The third is the variety of data. Earlier, data used to be limited. There used to be journal entries, sales transaction, but now data is growing because everything is getting digitized. So that's where, if you see the types of data, as I mentioned, unstructured data is growing. That's the variety of data that is getting generated. The fourth, and actually the most important, is the veracity. By veracity, we are referring to the quality of data, right? And if you want to make data valuable to people, the most important aspect is veracity. If data lacks integrity, it lacks quality, right? It has very less use, right? So these are the 4 important characteristics of data, right? Volume, velocity, variety, and veracity. Okay, so we spoke about how huge data is getting generated. So what challenge does it pose to the Finance and Audit Committee? Number 1, with more number of records getting generated, more number of transactions happening all over the world, the first challenge is how do you handle accounting for ever-growing data? Not only ever-growing data, but ever-growing complex data. As I mentioned, sales commission, contracts are getting complicated. Sales orders are getting very complex. How do you handle accounting and in a very speedy matter? That's one of the challenge that it poses. Second is, as complexity and volume grows, the next obvious concern after accounting is how do you audit large data, and not just large data in one place, but across the different functions, across the different locations, and especially when you're sitting in the limit in 1 or 2 locations. The third is the expectation from growing audit committees or CXOs or the CEOs or CFOs saying, we are looking at auditors not only as auditors, as the compliance auditors, but we also look at auditors as our consultants or as our advisors, right? With big data, all these 3 challenges are coming up. And to top it off, the big limitation that's going on in the world is limited budgets, right? I mean, you'll rarely come across leadership saying, "Oh, we have got unlimited. We know the complexity of big data, so we can give you unlimited budgets." That's never happening. The expectation is from leadership is always that you achieve more with less money, right? So how do you do that, right? And that's the answer is we leverage the 3 A's. The 3 A's in the data sciences world is, one is data analytics. That's the first A. Second, we leverage artificial intelligence, which is AI. And the third, we leverage automation, right? Both, all the three together can help solve the problem. Like now in today's session, we are going to go talk more about data analytics as well as artificial intelligence, not so much about automation, because the automation journey for many of us has started, and I know it continues. But in my session today, I'm going to talk more about analytics as well as artificial intelligence. Okay, the next one, Niharji mentioned this. Data is the new oil. Data is driving businesses. Data is driving decisions. Decisions are less taken now by intuition, less taken by hunches. Decisions are now being taken based on data. And data is the new oil. But as you know, oil is in a raw form, right? There's no value of oil unless it is refined, it is processed, and it is put into engine and it runs a car, right? Without that, it's of no use. So same applies to data. Data is of no use unless the data is processed, it's analyzed, and it's used for decision making. And a new buzzword that's going on with artificial intelligence. So if data is a new oil, what is AI? What is artificial intelligence? So some data scientists are now calling it AI is the new electricity. So the amount of difference that electricity, when it was invented, made to our lives, that's the amount of difference again that AI is going to create in this generation. Okay. Now, what are CEOs doing, right, in order to continuously grow the organization in a ever complex and changing world? CEOs are relying on data. They are leading a data-driven culture. They're talking to leadership. They're talking to the CIO. They're talking to the CFO and telling everyone that we want to run a data-driven organization, an organization that takes business decisions based on data, not just on hunches or experience. So interestingly, a survey was done, and I think this is in the Harvard Business Review. You will see these numbers. A survey was done of various organizations. I think around 130 senior business leaders contributed, were evaluated, they participated in the survey. And questions were asked about their comfort with data, right? Their importance and as well as comfort with data. Interestingly, here are the statistics. So 81% of the leaders felt that data skills are very much needed if you want to progress in the organization, if you want to become a leader in the organization, if you want to get into management, you want to become an executive. 81% of the leaders felt that a data skill is important. Number two, interestingly, 73 or almost 3/4 of the leaders felt that the data skills are harder to learn than any other business skills. So they felt that it's easy to learn marketing, it's easy to learn advertising, it's easy to learn sales, but it's very difficult to learn data skills. Third is they were asked, are you comfortable using the data yourself, right? And almost 2/3 of the participants said, no, they are not comfortable. And then they were asked, if you're not comfortable, would you like to learn data skills? And half of them said that they are too old to learn data skills. So yes, that was like an eye opener to many organizations about the importance of data and where we are lacking with data, right? So how do you solve this puzzle now? There's only one option. We learn about data sciences, which is we learn analytics, we learn AI, and we adopt it early in our lives, right? So much so that if you've got friends in the US, you can check with them. A lot of schools in the US in the early years are starting with Python programming. One of my friend's son, he's in the 9th grade, he's becoming an expert in Python programming. Python is one of the programs which is used in data analytics in AI. So many countries are starting off with data skills and analytics as well as AI skills early in their career. Okay, so what is needed, right? What is the journey for data science? What is the process? What is the skills needed to achieve a trusted outcome? It's a combination. The first skill that you need is business understanding. It's not just about data. It's not just engineering. The first and the most important skill that you need is business. You need to understand the business. If you're in telecom, you're trying to do some data analytics for a telecom company, you need to understand the telecom business. If you're doing some data analytics for the aerospace industry, you need to understand aerospace business. Next is the process. In that industry, what process are you applying the data to? Is it procure to pay? Is it order to cash? Is it RTR? Is it consolidation? That process you need to identify, because based on the process, the data is generated. And based on the data structure applies. And that's where it gets a little bit technical. So again, going to the first three, we call it BOOPUDU: business understanding, process understanding, and data understanding. These are on the functional part. This is nothing technical. Now, the next two circles is the data storage and structures, as well as ETL. This is where it gets a little bit technical, and you need to have some, or I would say, limited coding skills. You don't have to be an expert, but this is where you extract data from multiple systems, like how we used to do it in Excel, right? I mean, our CAs are great at doing that. We extract data from multiple places. We slice and dice the data. We transform the data. We run VLOOKUPs. We done pivots, and we load the data, or we show it in an Excel spreadsheet, right? That's basically ETL. Once that is done, the core then comes back into the functional part, where you have to analyze the data. Again, analysis of data depends upon how well do you understand the business, how well do you understand the process, and how well do you understand the data. And once you have analyzed it, the next thing which is important in data science is the ability to visualize. Visualize, as in visualize, there are various visualization tools in the market to show it to your end audience, be it the audit committee, be it the CFO, CEO. If you send them a spreadsheet and say, go take a look at it, they're not going to take a look. They're interested in visuals because visuals help you tell a story. All of this together helps you achieve the desired outcome. Now, in terms of expertise, if you look at all the circles, there are three types of expertise that are needed. One is the one which comes from the business function. Second is the analytic skills, and third is the data engineering skills. Now, it can be in three different people, or more and more younger generation is now trying to build it into a single person, right? So there are business people now learning data engineering and data science. There are data engineers who are coming at it and saying, I'm just a techie, I want to be more effective in data sciences. So they are learning the business, and they are also learning analytics. So the best case is someone who knows all three, and that can help you drive an outcome much more quickly. So going to the data analyst, right? We spoke about three functions. One is the business function, second is data analytics, and third is the data engineer. I don't need to tell you about the business function that comes from the core business. But coming to data analytics, what tools does he use, right? And this is the playground of a lot of data analyst or business analyst. There are three very important tools that a data analyst should know. One is the SQL part, which is mainly relevant for structured languages, the structured data. SQL stands for structured query language. And there are two very popular tools in the market. One is by Microsoft, which is very popularly known. It's called MS SQL. And there's one more tool which is called MySQL. These are the very popular. There are many more tools out in the market, but Microsoft SQL and MySQL are the more popular ones. Programming languages are becoming more and more rampant these days, and much more over SQL. So the older one is R, which was being used in banking industry for a long time, but Python has picked up recently. Python is growing big time popular in the data sciences world. So much so, as I explained, that it's being taught in the schools, just not in the US, in many countries, right? Python is a very low code software. It's very simple. It's very easier to learn Python as compared to like a SQL or like a C# or any other programming language. The third kind of tool that we should know if you want to become a data scientist and apply data analytics skills is visualization tools. The most popular ones in the market are Tableau, which I think is now owned by Salesforce. and then Power BI, which is owned by Microsoft. These are the two very strong, popular visualization tools that are being used. There are many others. ClickView is probably third one in this list. So these three are the different kind of tools that a data analyst uses. Okay. Getting to data engineering, right? This is what data engineers do and use. The main role of a data engineer is kind of the back-end work, right? He's extracting data from multiple systems. This can be very disparate system. It can be an ERP like Oracle or SAP. It could be a CRM software. It could be data coming from different lines of businesses. Or it could be coming from spreadsheets as well. So the work of a data engineer mostly involves extracting data. That's where the E comes from. Then he has to transform the data. The reason he has to transform is the data may not be normalized. It may be different, right? It's called customer in system 1. It's called client in system A. So he has to normalize a lot of that data. He has to do a lot of cleansing of the data, right? There's a lot of formatting issues that could be there. He's doing that. And third, he's typically loading it into something. And the typical place where the data is loaded, the transform data is loaded, is called a data warehouse. In data sciences, there are much more terms coming out. There are data lakes that are coming up. Data rivers are now coming up. But the most popular one, and the one which has been existing in existence for a while, is a data warehouse. And this is the core work of data engineering. Again, as I mentioned, it's more on the technical side, it's more on the backend side, but it helps big time for a data analyst to know how the ETL pipe, the ETL or the ELT is done. At the same time, it's very helpful for the data engineer to understand the business and as well as understand data analytics. So as I mentioned, it's kind of hand in glove. All the three work together to achieve the desired outcome. Here are some of the tools data engineers use. Now, in data science, what's happening with huge amount of data or big data getting generated, new technologies are coming into the marketplace. You probably heard about Docker coming in. Recently, Azure is coming up with Databricks. Apache is coming up with Spark, and these companies are creating more and more technologies and tools to help data engineers with the whole ETL exercise. Again, we don't need to spend time on this, but I just wanted to let you know, if you hear of some words that are you using Docker, are you using Delta Lake, are you using Databricks, the whole objective of these tools is to do ETL, extract, transform, or load the data. Okay, now comes the crux of data analytics, right? What are the different types of data analytics that exist in the world today? And if you have to look at the types of data analytics, you have to look at what is the purpose, what is the objective of doing that analytics, right? The first purpose that is called descriptive, which has been the oldest in the world. Descriptive analytics mainly talks about what has happened. If an example, if you want to go to a doctor, right, and if you, the first thing you tell your doctor is, hey, my son's not well, he has cold, he has fever, right? That you're describing the situation, you're describing the problem. That's a descriptive analytics. The second thing is diagnostic analytics. Diagnostic gets into the why part of it. Data. Why did something happen? So taking a parallel from the medical profession, along with telling the doctor he has cold and fever, the doctors are also trying to find out, why do you have cold and fever? Maybe you had too much ice cream. Maybe you went into the rain and you got wet, right? That's the diagnostic part. The third, which is picking up in the artificial intelligence world, is predictive. Predicting what can happen is the focus of prediction, right? So for example, an example which I can easily correlate to in the medical field is they want to know what can happen with the symptoms that a patient has. Can he get pneumonia? Can he get chest infection? Data science is also helping doctors predict what can happen if the symptoms are left untreated. The fourth and the most difficult part, and this is where the value really comes in, is prescriptive. Based on what you described is this issue, the way you explained why it has happened, can you prescribe what should be done in terms of that situation or to prevent the issue? So these are the 4 pillars or the 4 different types of data analytics. Descriptive one, the oldest, most commonly used. All of the reports that we do are usually descriptive. Diagnostic is difficult. Getting into the why takes a lot of time. But that need is out there. Predictive is growing rapidly with artificial intelligence. And we'll talk about, I have a separate slide on AI and predictive analytics. So we'll cover that in detail. And the 4th part is prescriptive. So if you're going to ever talk to a data scientist and you have to tell him, what are you looking for? You're looking for predictive analytics, you're looking for diagnostic analytics, and so on. So having spoken about these 4 types, the most success comes if you apply all 4, right? Not just descriptive or diagnostic. What a end customer is looking for is, are you able to apply all 4? If you apply all 4 effectively, you get a very successful solution. Now, one example where this has been done in the world, and most of you know it, you may not be able to correlate it right now, and I'll put it up on the next slide, is the problem that we had is in finding route, in finding out how do we get from one place to another. That was a fundamental problem had every human being was facing. If they're going to a new town, let's say I'm going to Delhi or going to Bombay, I'm new to the place, I want to get from a starting point to a destination, right? How do I get there, right? That was a fundamental problem, and it had existed for many years. There were solutions out there, but they were not in full. So if I remember, I used to use Yahoo Maps almost 20 years back. And if I used to put a start location, if I put a destination, Yahoo Maps very neatly used to get me a route, right? It used to say, you have to start from this road, you have to take a left on this road, you have to drive 100 meters, take a right, and so on. But that was not the complete solution. The complete solution, which all 4 came with Google Maps, right? So Google Maps, as you know, I think everyone on his smartphone nowadays has Google Maps. Most of you have used it. I don't have to, I hope I do not have to tell even what Google Maps is. But if you look at Google Maps has been highly successful in the world, and that's where it's on everyone's phone because it does all 4. How does it do descriptive analysis, right? When you put a start location and when you put an endpoint, it gives you all the possible routes. It says you can take route A, you can take route B, and when it gives you the route, it gives you very detailed direction. It tells you which road to take, where to take a left, where to take a right, how much distance it is. That's descriptive analytics. So Google Maps does that. Number 2 is also doing predictive analytics, right? What is it predicting? It is predicting the amount of time. So if you decide to take route A, it says it's going to take 30 minutes. If you decide to take route B, it is taking 35 minutes. Now, how is it doing this prediction? It's obvious that Google doesn't have an executive sitting at each of the roads and calling up Google and saying, hey, it's going to take 30 minutes, 35 minutes. What it's really doing, it's analyzing historical data. So let's say it's 6. So let's say it's 6:40 right now. If I put in the start point and end point and say I want to get to my home, how much time will it take? So the way Google Analytics does that, it says, did someone else travel the same road yesterday or in the last few days, and how much time did it take him via that route? So it's going into the history, analyzing the data, and coming up with a prediction or an estimation saying, hey, in the last 6 days on an average, it's taken the person 35 minutes at 6:40 p.m. to take that road. So it's doing that analytics and giving you with an estimated time. That's predictive analytics. Smartly, Google has also done diagnostic analytics. Let's say I decide to pick a route. I start off, now Google was earlier saying it's going to take you 35 minutes. Now, Google suddenly might change it as you start driving and say, it's not going to take you 35 minutes more. It's now going to take you 40 minutes. So it's going to take 5-minute delay. So one obvious question that the driver has, why is it going to take me 5 minutes more? What led to that change? And when you open Google Maps, it starts showing you a red patch on that road, which is nothing but a traffic congestion. That traffic congestion is leading you to that 5-minute delay. So Google is diagnosing the problem in the road and telling you that it's going to take you extra time. Now, how does Google do diagnostic analytics? as I said earlier, they don't have an executive sitting at the road and telling, hey, there's a stalled vehicle because of which traffic stuck. What it's doing is it's connecting the dots. It's finding out, is there some other smartphone user who has enabled Google Maps on that phone, and is he stuck in traffic? So it's monitoring, it's talking to the Google servers, it's connecting to that smartphone app and saying, hey, this person is, these are 3 people sitting on that road and they haven't moved an inch. So that's telling them, that's how they're finding out there is a traffic congestion. It's applying that data analytics and coming up with predictive as well as diagnostic and saying, hey, because there are other users are telling you it's going to take, they're stuck in traffic, it's going to take you 5 minutes more. That's diagnostic analytics. Now, the best part about Google, this is where Google Maps became successful, is prescriptive analytics. As you start driving a road, let's say Google says you have to take a left. By mistake or due to some reason, you're not able to take a left, you take a right. What does Google Map do? Google Map says, I'm rerouting you. I'm giving you an alternate route. That's basically Google prescribing a different path because you change your path. That's called prescriptive analytics. How is it doing that? It's again doing data analytics. It's running, it's finding your location, finding your destination, running analytics on the past data and telling you those alternate routes. So Google Maps is one of the fantastic examples which does all 4. It describes the route, it predicts the time, it diagnoses problems on the road, and it tells you there is an issue. And it also tells you that if you take a wrong turn, what is that you should be doing. This is the best example I love about Google Maps on doing all 4 analytics, and that's why it's become so popular. Now let's apply that to business, right? An example is banking, right? So banking, how banking for many years has done a lot of descriptive analysis. They keep huge records of all the loan applicants, and they also keep all details of loan applicants. Is he what gender is he? What location is he from? What is the amount of loan he has taken? What is his annual income? They used to maintain all this data, prepare reports. And they also had track of who are the defaulters, who did not default, and so on. That's descriptive analytics. What's changing is, that data was now used to do predictive analytics through a concept called artificial intelligence and machine learning. So there are machine learning models that are coming up that look at the history of data, and there's big data that exists. And they are studying that data and predicting who can be a defaulter if they get a new application, right? That's what's going on in business. The diagnostic and prescriptive, at least I'm not aware, they're still yet there. And that's usually the sequence. Descriptive is the easiest. Then comes predictive, which is slightly more difficult. The diagnostic and the prescriptive is usually the most difficult piece. And that's where we yet have to see a lot of traction. But it'll come with technology advancement, we'll get there. Now, what is now applying this concept of data analytics to auditors, right? What is expected of an auditor by the audit committees, by senior leadership? So descriptive, we have been doing it. We have been preparing various audit reports saying, hey, we analyzed AR, we looked at the AP process, we looked at HR, and here's what we find. Here's what has happened. That's descriptive. That's done and dusted. What audit committees or what senior leadership is looking from auditors is to become an advisor. And ultimately, they want the advisor to tell them, if you have found a problem, tell us how should we solve it? Tell us what should we do? And if you want to find out how to solve the problem, you first have to find out why that has occurred. And the why comes from diagnostic. And that's expected of auditors. The leadership is expecting that along with doing descriptive analytics, auditors also start doing diagnostic analytics. It takes time, effort, and that's where tools come to your rescue. And then once you have found out why it has happened, that then you'll be able to do prescriptive analytics and tell leadership saying, hey, you found this issue, here's how you solve it. That's what's expected of auditors and advisor. So let me take this example of a lot of my examples that I show are coming from some recent discussions I've had back in May of 23, I was at a Gartner conference on data analytics, and I was meeting a lot of chief data officers and auditors, and this is some interesting insight they shared. And the numbers that you see are just representatives; they are made up numbers, but the concept still applies. So here's an example of an auditor who did analytics of the AP process, right? And he came up with an internal audit report and said, Mr. CFO, here's late fees trend in the last 6 months. As you can see, the late fees has gone up in March, and the late fee charged by the vendor has gone up in June. So the CFO said, oh, that's great. You're telling me good insights into the business. I can understand I'm seeing spikes in March and June, but that's not enough. The CFO is thinking and asking the auditor, why is this happening? Why am I getting a spike in March? Why am I getting a spike in June? Remember, this is not sales. You'll see sales spiking up end of the quarter, but why are my late fees for payment going up in March and June? And what is the remedial action? That's what CFOs are expecting the internal auditors to do. And that's where data science can come to the rescue. So here's analytics taken to the next level. So this is where diagnostic analytics comes in. Diagnostic, as you say, is why it is happening. So if you think about late fees, right? What is late fees? Why do vendors charge late fees? Late fees are charged because the invoice is paid late. Now, why is that invoice paid late? You have to understand the invoicing cycle. If you look at any vendor invoice, there are 4 major steps. First, you obtain the invoice from the vendor. Second, you load it into your system. You verify the invoice. Time goes into each of these steps. The third is you approve the invoice. There are different delegation authorities who approve the invoice. And fourth is you pay the invoice. All 4 are different steps. They take their own sweet time, total up to the total processing days. So the auditor does this detailed analysis, which takes time. It's not easy. He has to coordinate with multiple folks. He has to check multiple systems to find out where is this data stored, how does he get it, and then he does this analysis. So I'll give you a few seconds just to go through this. So then I'll explain. Okay, so if you see this table, right, the big numbers are coming in Jan and the big numbers are coming in April. So when you see the turnaround time, it took 9 days on an average to pay the invoices in Jan and 8 days to pay it in April. Whereas if you look at May and June, it only took 3 days, which means the payments can be done in 3 days. But in Jan and April, the AP department was probably having some problems or having some inefficiencies, because it took much more days to process the payment. And that's why the total processing days went up. And because of it, if you think about it, Jan, if the invoices are paid late, the late fee is usually applied 1 or 2 months later. So the March invoices started showing the late fee. Same thing for April. It took much longer beyond the payment terms to pay the invoices. So when the vendor received the payment in May, he realized the invoice is paid late. And when he generated the June invoice, he applied the late fees. So now you see the correlation. Processing delays in Jan led to late fees in March. Payment delays in April led to late fees in June. This is the why, right? With detailed analytics, with diagnostic analytics, now you're able to find out why was there a spike in March? Why was there a spike in June? Based on this, you can do prescriptive analytics. Now you know the why, then you can go to leadership and say, we need to enhance our AP processes. It's taking much more days in certain months to process it. So the diagnostic analytics that you do help you come up with prescriptive analytics. This is called actionable insight. Leadership is not just looking for data and information. The new buzzword in the market, and it's been there, but picking up a lot, is leadership is expecting that the data is being converted into something called actionable insight. Insight is information. Actionable is to convert it into some kind of action. Okay. So with that in mind, data analytics is key. Expectations from auditors are growing. Data scientists, data analysts in the world are growing. But if you Google data analytics today, there is an interesting problem that you will find. about the trust in data analytics. So if you Google trust in and data analytics together, you'll find a lot of articles. The articles are also biased towards saying data analytics is not reliable. And when some leadership folks were surveyed as to do they rely or do they trust data analytics, a lot of senior folks have come in and said, we have spent a lot of money on data analytics. Unfortunately, we do not trust data analytics. We do not trust the result of data analytics. I've seen one survey that says, I think it was done a few years back, it said 61% of CEOs do not rely on data analytics, do not trust data analytics. And I saw one more report recently done in 22, which said 75%. So the numbers are growing, which is, we'll be surprised that even though data analytics, we are just analyzing the existing data to convert it into actionable insight, why is the dependence not growing? Okay. And there's top two reasons. So when we spoke about this at the Gartner conference in May, a lot of chief data officers looked at the problem and said, why is leadership, even though we are spending a lot of money, we know data analytics is very helpful, why is leadership still not trusting data, right? And there came two main reasons. The first reason is data veracity. By data veracity, I mean data quality, data integrity. A lot of feedback that's coming in from data scientists is when they are pulling data from different systems, they're realizing quality issues. Quality in terms of missing data. Important data is missing. It's not loaded on time. There are processing errors. There are storage errors. All this is leading to issues related to completeness of the data, accuracy of the data, as well as validity of the data. So one of the big reasons why analytics may not be reliable is data veracity. And as you know, data scientists or data analysts are never responsible for generating the data. The data is getting generated in the source systems such as ERPs or CRM softwares. So it's important that, the relevant folks who are in charge put appropriate controls in place so that the data which is getting ingested in those systems is of high quality. The second important reason when you're doing data analytics is you're missing important points. There is a saying called devil is in the details, right? A lot of feedback that's coming from senior executives is the auditors or the data scientists are not spending enough time to analyze the data and quickly jumping to conclusions. As a result of which, a lot of CEOs are saying that the analytics or the insights reports that I'm getting from my data analytics team is against my hunch. It's against my intuition. So if you fix two of these big issues, the trust in data analytics will go up big time. Okay. So let me give you an example, right? Again, the numbers here are made up, but this is actually shared by one of the chief data officers based on feedback from the CEO. An internal audit report was sent out. The internal audit report was focused on sales and AR and how, and it was really measuring the performance of different regions. So the data was shared. Now, if you look at the numbers here, this is data for the month of, for quarter one, which is Jan to March. And if you see the common trend obviously is there is a increase in the month of March, as you know, which is very common in sales. A lot of salespeople, in order to meet their targets, go behind closing their deals at the end of the quarter. That's where you will see March numbers going up. And if you see the month-on-month growth, it's significant. The growth is only 6% in Feb, but it's 28% in March. So when this report was shared with the CXOs, with the CEO, with the CFO, they said, we love this report, but we don't trust the data, right? And the internal auditor was very confused. He said, hey, this is expected. 28% is a big increase. And the question that was asked by the CEO is the data reliable? Can we trust this data? Is it 28? Is it 27, 29? We don't know. I mean, we have a hunch that the data has trust issues. And again, they're really questioning the integrity of the data. Now, keep in mind, this is descriptive analytics. It just describes what is the sales trend by region, by month. When you apply a data visualization to it, let me take you to the next slide. This is where you see the power of data visualization. which is done through tools like, I mean, I know you can do it in Excel as well, but this is where tools such as Tableau and Power BI are used to convert it into a data science. And this is where you start finding anomalies in the data. Just looking at the data in Excel into the 16, in the 16 cells didn't help. So when you plot it in like a line chart, if you see this, if you look at east, west, and north in the third month, which is the month of March, you'll see a significant jump, right? The line goes up significantly. But if you see in the month, if you see the trend line for south, the line is almost flat. It's gone up, but very little. And which is very common in sales, big jump happens in March. So if the big jump happened in east, west, and north, why did the big jump not happen in the south? And this is what should tell the internal auditor or the data scientist, saying, hey, something's missing. The data has veracity issues. And when this was investigated by the chief data officer, he came to know that there was a big deal which was signed in the month of March by the South region head, and an email was sent out to the CEO and the CFO saying, hey, big win, we won a big customer in the month of March, these are the sales for the numbers. And that's what was going on in the CEO's head, saying, hey, I remember this email that came on in the March from the head of sales saying we have sold a bulk quantity in the month of March, but your numbers don't do justice to it, right? So how do you identify such issues? Through data visualization, and this is the power of data science. Okay. What I would encourage is, don't just do Excel sheets, but do data visualization. It gives you, data visualization is known as, it does a lot of storytelling. It also helps you identify data anomalies, right? Let me give you another example. This is from a company which was looking at how are they doing on advertising and what return is it giving them. They were really looking at ROI from their advertising spend. So this report was shared for the 4 regions. The first column says what is the sales for the region. This is in rupees millions. The second column says what is the advertising spend in millions, and whoever did the data analytics said, we are so good in ratios, right? What is the ratio of sales to advertising spend? So based on this, he prepared this report and did an analysis, went to leadership and said, we have analyzed your data and we have found out that the East, the marketing team in the East has been very effective. For every rupee spent, they have earned us 21 rupees in sales, whereas the North team has not been so effective, right? For every rupee spent on advertising, we have been able to convert it into only 7 rupees in sales. This was the initial actionable insight that was given to leadership, and leadership said, well, it doesn't make sense. It can't be so different, right? 21 and 7, that's a big change. So the internal audit team took it back based on feedback given by leadership and said, let me do some more data analytics. Let me do some more insights, right? And again, with the trend going with this is trust. You lost trust. The CEO looked at the numbers, the CFO looked at the numbers and said, I don't trust the data, right? I don't trust the results coming from data analytics. So when level 2 of the analysis was done, let me add one aspect here. And this is one of the reasons why data analytics can lead into trust issues. One of the important aspects, or one of the important data points that was missed by whoever was doing the analytics, he just looked at the ad. He had reached out to the finance team and said, give me the spend on advertising for the month of Jan, Feb, and March, and he had just totaled up the 3 numbers. What he had not done is not questioned when was the money spent and when did the advertising campaign start. And that's when he added this, the picture turned big time. Now if you look at it, what the advertising campaign had done, they had started with advertising campaigns in East in the month of Jan. They ran advertising campaigns in Jan, Feb, and March for East. Then they moved on to West. They started the advertising campaigns in Feb, did it for Feb and March. Then they took up South. They started the campaigns in South on the 1st of March, ran it for the month of March, and North was the last. So North advertising spend and campaign started in the 30th of March, which is basically end of the quarter. Now see how the numbers change. What was read earlier saying, hey, the North campaign was not very effective because it only gave us 7x. With one additional insight, one additional feature, or one additional data point, the things change, and now you realize that North is not a problem at all, right? And in fact, North, they also realize it's not the advertising spend that led to the Q1 sales of 467 in North. It is the performance of the sales manager, not the marketing team, that led to the spend. So instead of criticizing the marketing team of North, they ended up appreciating the sales guys in North. And that's what's expected by a CEO and CFO, right? They want actionable insight. They want accurate results based on which they can take decisions. As I mentioned earlier, if you're doing data analytics and if you want to make sure you're building trust, that you have to remember devil is in the details. You have to do deep thinking to say what is expected, what is the data going to be used for, and based on the outcome, you have to look at all the aspects of the business. This is where your business understanding and process understanding makes a difference. You have to apply those aspects to come up with actionable insights which can be trusted by leadership. We have some examples of automation, right? We spoke about analytics. Now, how to take analytics to the next level and automate the analytics, right? Here's some examples which I've seen in real life. Balance reconciliation, as you know, in the past was heavily Excel dependent. The accountant or the auditor used to download data from 2-3 different systems, do VLOOKUPs and do a comparison. Now that's getting automated. I've seen a lot of automation programs out there which extract data from the banking system, which extract data from the internal maybe ERP system or the internal GL system, and do a reconciliation and immediately throw out output saying the data is not matching. The same thing is going on for vendor and customer balance reconciliation. One of the things that we have to do as part of audits is send out balance confirmations. How did it happen in the past? We used to send out emails to our letters to different to our vendors and customers saying, hey, can you please send me the balance as per your records so that we can reconcile it as part of the audit. This was done very much manually. Now a lot of that is being done in an automated manner. So what's happening is companies are implementing chatbots. A chatbot is where an auditor can log into the vendor system through user ID and password, punch in details and say, I want the balance for party A for the month of so-and-so. It immediately gets you the balance, and then you reconcile it with your system. So a lot of that balance reconciliation is now happening in an automated manner. Related party transaction, one of the big requirements for compliance and reporting is you have to report related party transactions. So I've worked with some data scientists. I've seen this and happen, that they're pulling data from their ERP systems, finding out all the parties with which transactions have been done, connecting it to MCA website, pulling data from that company, finding out the directors of that company, and then saying, is this a related party transaction? All this is happening in an automated manner. Data analytics or artificial intelligence is also being used to automatically identify fraudulent journal entries, right? This is a core skill of core expectation and the skill of an auditor, which is happening in an automated manner. For those of you who are interested how this is being done, you might have heard about this. There is a tool out there implemented or a system implemented by a Big Four auditing firm. It's called Helix, Helix. Helix is out there in the market by a Big Four company. They are using it for journal ledger anomaly detection. They are also extended it to vendor systems like in AR and AP analytic. They're trying to find out fraudulent entries in those systems. It was designed and implemented by one of their partners based in Japan. So if you're interested to know more, just Google Helix or YouTube Helix. A lot of information is out there about Helix, Helix. Okay. Now let's jump into AI. Enough said about data analytics. As I mentioned, it's a vast topic. We can go endless, but we have limited time. So let's jump to AI. Again, as I mentioned, a lot of buzzwords. Recently I've been getting into a lot of meetings where leadership is asking, saying, hey, how are you applying artificial intelligence? Are you using GPT for auditing? Are you using chat GPT? Are you using machine learning? Before we get into any of that, it's important to understand what do these things really do? What's the context of it? Not just through the word and how it's used, but first let's understand what these terms are. So AI, or artificial intelligence, is the overall umbrella, right? It's the overall world, and the objective of artificial intelligence is to create machines, is to create computers that can mimic human intelligence, and that's where it gets scary to humans, right? You're making the computer think, and you're kind of helping him develop a brain of its own, which it doesn't have a brain, but you're helping him become intelligent. That's what artificial intelligence is about. Then comes machine learning. What is machine learning? Machine learning is a subset of AI. It is a field of artificial intelligence where you're training a machine, you're enabling the machine to learn from data and help the computer or help the machine make decisions. Bear in mind that what's different between humans and machines: humans can learn from little data, but machines cannot. Machines need a lot of data to learn, and that is where big data helps them. So the exploding data that is happening in the world, and data that is getting stored in various shapes and forms, is helping machines learn from the data and make decisions of their own with very little programming. That's the objective of machine learning. This is what's picking up in the world in the last few years. So the machine learning scientists are now the guys earning the big bucks. Deep learning, I don't want to spend much time into it. It's not, I don't know this much, but actually it's a subset of machine learning. This is where neural networks are used, and many layers, and it goes through many layers to analyze the data. Because it's going through many layers, it's peeling the onion one layer at a time. That's why it's going deep, and that's why the concept is called deep learning. So practical uses, as I know it, if you see what's happening with automatic driving cars in the US, right, or automatic image recognition, breaking the CAPTCHA phrase when you're logging into website, which is being done by machine, it falls in the domain of deep learning. Generative AI, chat GPT, it gets synonymous. Machine learning applied and evolved, where algorithms are getting created by machines, and these are capable of generating new data or suggesting the next word. This is where a lot of prescriptive or predictive analytics takes place. So if you think about our chats, right? If you go into WhatsApp, you write 3 or 4 words, and then it suggests you the next word. That's generative AI. It's generating something for you and suggesting it to you. Now, how is it doing that? It's going through a lot of data. It's doing data analytics in the back end. It's looking at the words that you have previously typed. It's looking at the context of those words, right? And then it's looking into its historical database of messages and then suggesting you new words. That's where generative AI is used, which is further used into GPT. So if you know chat GPT, you have probably heard of it. It's a concept called generative pre-trained transformer. So these are transformers, these are programs, these are algorithms which have been trained on vast amount of data, and they can generate data. So those of you you have probably heard that ChatGPT is now creating music. They're creating audio. They're creating music of their own, right? This is based on, it is generating data, or it's generating in various forms, be it audio, be it text, be it video, but they are pre-trained by humans. They are not doing it on their own alone. There is a training involved in it, and that's why it's called pre-trained. Okay, so this is just an overview of the different terms, and you should know this because when you step into a meeting and suddenly some words are thrown at you saying, hey, are you implementing deep learning in audit? You should know what deep learning is about. What is the concept? What is the context? What is the usage? Where it's used before you say something about whether you are using it or not. Okay, so now going into AI, what I've seen more, if you go back to the slide, the most commonly used AI tool is machine learning, or the most commonly used branch, which is expanding a lot, is machine learning, where machines are learning to do something and to make decisions. So let me talk about machine learning then. There are three types of machine learning which are in operation today. Number one is supervised machine learning. How does supervised machine learning work? Supervised machine learning works by looking at the data and large amount of data, and there is a label associated to it. For example, if you see, I'm sure all of you use emails, be it Gmail, be it Yahoo email, whatever it is, right? It starts classifying data into, is it spam or not spam? Now, who is doing that? Is the computer doing it based on supervised machine learning? And how is it doing that? It's looking at past human behavior. So if you have a lot of users have looked at their emails and tagged it as, this is spam, this is not spam, right? That's the label given by the human machine. So it's looking at the data, and then it's based on that, it's deriving or it's interpreting what can be a spam email going forward. So again, it needs training. A lot of records are needed to train the model, and then there is also extensive testing involved. So that's why the word is called supervised. There is a human involved in the whole machine learning process. It's giving data sets, it's giving large amount of data with labels. Practical business uses: loan appraisal, right? We spoke about machines now predicting whether a loan application will get into a default mode, yes or no, right? So that's happening through supervised machine learning. Fraud detection: fraudulent transactions identified in credit cards, that's happening through machine learning. It's not human beings. Human beings potentially cannot go through each and every transaction happening, credit card transactions happening in the world, because it's just too much data. So it's machines doing it. So that's supervised machine learning. Unsupervised is slightly different. There's no labels, right? There's no labels or kind of tags given to the data. The concept is still you have to feed a lot of data to the system, and the system, without its labels, finds out what are possibly data anomalies. So the system or the computer on its own discovers the patterns in the data. There is no human interaction involved. An example, practical use: a lot of medical records, right? A lot of anomaly analytics happening in the medical field is done by using unsupervised machine learning. There is a popular library in Python called Isolation Forest, which is also being used by the financial world. I've heard about accounting and audit departments use it to find anomalies in financial entries. So, and that too without human interaction. So that's what machine is doing for you. Reinforcement machine learning, the third category. An example is the scanners, right? Scanners are used to understand, interpret text. Again, this is kind of in the newer phase, not much used in finance, more in the technology world. There's a reinforcement learning agent involved, and all it's doing is, the machine learning model or the algorithm is taking actions and learning through trial and error, right? Those are the three common machine learning, methods out there. End of the day, what's happening is, using any of the three models, the machine are learning from the data. So it's analyzing the data and it's creating models or algorithms to make better decisions. So that's a quick peek into machine learning. Here's an example of machine learning, how it really works, right? So we spoke about loan appraisal. So what happens in a machine learning model, or how a model is trained, you basically feed a large amount of data. In this case, the bank may give all details of all the past loan applications and the relevant data points. And then it also is tagged. If you see the last column, did that loan default on repayment? Yes or no? The label is the default. You want to predict whether the loan will default, yes or no. So the label is what's important. Now, the entire data set is split into two parts. Roughly 70 to 80% is used as training data. So what's used to train the computer. And how does the computer train? Through a series of programs. So that's where you typically use like Python. It analyzes the data. What it's really doing, it's correlating the data. There's a correlation and regression involved. A lot of stats happens behind the statistics is applied behind the scene. And based on this 80%, you train the computer to find out whether the loan will default, yes or no. And once the model is trained, the model is created, then you test it with data. So the balance 20 to 30% of the data that's fed, the computer uses that 20% and test that model or test that algorithm and says, is it accurate model, yes or no? Again, this is not an easy exercise. A lot of people think, machine learning is easy, it's an overnight success. No, that's not. Like this model can take anywhere from 1 month to 6 months to create. A lot of iteration is involved, and it's not just machine learning, right? Even to do machine learning, you have to do the full exercise of understanding the business, understanding the process. So data analytics is still involved in the back end. The machine learning is the icing on top of it. This is the outer layer of the onion. So here's an example of how machine learning is applied to do predictive analysis. So this is an example of a bank, but machine learning is being increasingly used in various fields, in medical, in healthcare, everywhere it's getting used to predict something, so that humans who do not have the ability to go through each and every transaction can predict some, so instead of humans doing it, machines are doing it. They're doing it much more faster. They're working 24 hours. That's the long-term benefit, but there's a lot of cost and time involved in it. Okay, so that's about AI ML. Now, what challenges are companies facing in implementing AI? There are shortage of skilled professionals. AI ML is picked up in the last 2-3 years. There is still a severe shortage of very skilled professional. And when I say skilled, is not just a data scientist, right? The data is, or it's not just a shortage of a programmer. It is shortage of professionals who understand everything, who understand the business, who understand the process, who can do visualization, who can do the coding, who can do the ETL. Kind of all in one person is what's lacking. Or if there is not all in one person, there is no adequate teaming approach. So there is a fear in terms of the business professionals that engineers will do everything and take away the job. So there is lack of teaming happening. Business plus technical people are not teaming up together, like what happened in the ERP field, right? In the ERP field, there used to be a functional consultant, there used to be a developer, there used to be a configurator. All three work together to implement successful ERP systems. That is still a challenge in the AI world, but things are getting better. Teaming is growing, but it's not yet there. Third, and a big problem that's also coming up in AI is people start doing AI projects thinking it's a quick exercise. They'll invest money and get some quick wins overnight or in a couple of weeks. That's not true. AI can be time consuming. It can be very expensive. In fact, a lot of models that are getting created in the world are not even seeing the light of the day. They are not even getting to production. Some of these models, I have friends a lot who work in data sciences. I have a friend who's working in insurance, and he said he has created 3 models, but all of the 3 models took him somewhere around 5 to 6 months. So it's not easy, but once the model is productionalized, it's got a lot of benefits. So that is one of the challenges, is implementing AI. Is the money involved and the time involved. Okay, so I know we're running short of time. Again, there's a lot to talk about. So I'll quickly jump into how to apply AI in accounting and auditing. So AI is coming everywhere. It's impacting every industry out there, and the finance industry is not going to be left behind. So if you think about a accounting part, right, a lot of data entry has gone automated. Processing has become automated. So this is where a lot of RPA tools, like UiPath or Automation Anywhere is coming up. A common use case is invoice downloading, data entry, or converting it into a readable format, and data entry into the ERP or the financial system. RPA is used, the task which were done by human beings, mundane task, don't have to apply a lot of cognitive skills. That's going into the RPA path. Chatbots are coming up big time. Earlier, if you wanted to find out something, get some financial information, you had to send emails to people. If you wanted to know your balance, you had to email the AR team of a company. Or if you wanted to know the balance of payables, you have to contact the AP system and so on. That's going away. The need for humans to give some basic information is no longer there. Companies are implementing chatbots where you just log in and you just ask questions to the bot, and it tells you what's your balance, what are your transactions. So these are also called virtual assistants. All of this is AI in the backend. Intelligent auditing, one of the big demands that is coming from leadership, leadership of different companies is, in the past, as you know, auditors always used to say we cannot audit the full population. We can audit a sample, right? Because we are human beings. We are not machines. So AI is solving that by testing the entire population instead of a sample. That's where intelligent auditing tools are being applied. AI is coming into place. AI is also being coming in for identifying fraud, errors, and fraud. As I mentioned, Helix, right? ENY has that program, which is Helix. They're applying it into the auditing community. Another big four organization, I think the name is called Clara, CLARA. They're also coming up with tools and technologies of their own that helps in intelligent auditing. And then financial reporting. I don't want to name the companies. They are also, applying AI into creating financial reporting softwares where they're automatically coming up with creating the balance sheets and P&Ls. So a lot of tasks which was mundane and easy, which was done by human beings, is now being done by machines, and that's where AI and auditing. That's how AI is impacting accounting and auditing. So what's the impact and what should we do about it? There's a lot of discussions going on about AI taking away jobs. And I don't think and this again, my personal view, I don't think jobs will go away. If you think about it, technology advancements have never stopped in the last 100 odd years. 50 years ago, a lot of calculations were done manually. Then came the calculator. Never took away any job. It just made the job faster. Then about 30-40 years back in the banking system, computers came up, and banking professionals thought with computers coming in, our jobs will go away. That hasn't happened. In fact, due to introduction of computers, banking has exploded. The number of jobs in banking went up. So same thing is going to happen in AI, right? It depends upon how you look at AI. Is it artificial intelligence? No, I think the better answer is augmented intelligence, right? Machine should be used to augment your intelligence. And if you look at it that way, you learn AI and you adopt AI, I think the accounting and auditing industry has great days ahead. Okay, with that, I mean, that's what I wanted to cover through this presentation. Thanks for thanks for supporting me. Any questions?
Yeah, so we have 3 questions from our participants.
Okay.
So the first one is that they are asking that can we get this presentation slides in email?
Sure, they can.
Okay.
Yep. I will work on it later. I'll send it to you, and you can email it out.
Okay. And the second question is that what role does natural language processing play in automating the analysis of textual data, such as contracts and financial documents during the audit process?
So, sorry, can you say that again? Is the question that what role does it play?
What role does natural language processing play in automating the analysis of textual data, such as contracts and financial documents during the audit process?
Okay, that's a great question. So NLP, or natural language processing, is also picked up big time, especially in case of unstructured data, right? Like text messages, images in different formats. So NLP is picking up big time. It's also, so a lot of RPA behind the scene is using NLP, and it's also automating a lot of the reading of data, its conversion, its translation, and so on. In fact, even I've been involved in an NLP exercise where we had to read invoices which were in Chinese language, in Spanish language, and convert it and kind of convert it into financial entries and post it, right? So we used Python and some APIs with Google in order to read the data, convert it into OCR format, and convert it into like a financial entry that gets loaded. So yeah, NLP is playing a big role. It's not easy. There are some challenges. So one of the examples that I can quickly think through is NLP was used, or RPA was used, to read paper invoices and convert it into financial entries. But one of the big challenges for RPA is that if the paper invoice is kind of folded, or it's kind of crumbled, it's very difficult for RPA to read that paper invoice, right? And apply NLP in the back end. But I've recently heard of a company, you probably have heard of Alibaba, and there may be more, who have solved that problem where even a paper is folded, right? they have created models, or they have created machine learning algorithms that can effectively read what was that character and convert it. So it's NLP and machine learning taken to the next level. So there's a lot of technical advancements going on in the field of NLP, especially, and NLP is very commonly used in social networking. It's very commonly used in retail, shopping, two of the most successful fields of data sciences, and it will continue. So I think it will also make a significant dent in the financial accounting and auditing space. Okay, hope that answers question.
Yeah. So the next question is that what are the regulatory and compliance considerations surrounding the use of AI in auditing, and how are these evolving?
Good question. So the interesting part, and this was kind of a big discussion at Gartner conference back in May. So with AI, everyone knows ChatGPT, right? ChatGPT, interestingly, is banned in many organizations for various reasons, and one of the biggest is it's never gone through any regulatory compliance, right? There's a lot of questions about what does it do, what can it do, what kind of damage it does. And one of the limitations of ChatGPT is a concept called hallucination, right? ChatGPT can hallucinate based on what you tell them. If I give you an example, if I put in a prompt in ChatGPT says, "Are financial accountants, how much do they know Japanese?" So ChatGPT can hallucinate and say, "Hey, financial accountants in India are very great in Japanese," and in fact, it might go to the extent of saying, "Oh, they are the best in Japanese." Right? So that's hallucination. So a lot of it is contextual, and that's where a lot of companies are reluctant to implement ChatGPT. The level of accuracy is there. I know there are a lot of articles out there saying that if ChatGPT was used to crack a law exam and so on, but it has limitations of its own. It's not gone through any regulatory compliance. That's why a lot of companies are banning it. There's no regulations around it as yet. There is increasing concern in many governments saying, yeah, there is increased adoption, but what all can it do? What are all the risks? So they're coming up with regulations. It's not yet there. And in terms of compliances, I'm not, again, I think it's very much in the infancy stages. At least I'm talking about generative AI, but artificial intelligence has to go, if you think about RPA, right? It is posing a big challenge in terms of compliance to auditors, especially because auditors do not know much around the technology. They are looking at AI as a black box, saying, I'm going to look at the input, going to look at the output and make sure it matches my input, meets my requirements. They are not looking into what's under the hood. Right, so compliance is becoming challenging, and I think there's a lot of work to go up in the field of auditing and compliance in the AI field. But in the reverse side, they are used, AI is being used for regulatory and compliance. I don't think the other way around. No one has, we have not yet found a great solution to finding out what are the regulatory and compliance. How do we check the box on regulatory and compliance on using AI in the organization? Okay. Any other question?
No, sir. There
Okay.
are no other questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it from me. Thank you so much. Thanks for being patient. And I will work with the moderator, to send out the slides. Okay, back to you.
So thank you, sir. Thank you for a valuable session, and we look forward to implement this knowledge in our professional life. And now I'd like to welcome CA Deepak Tyal, sir, who is a chartered accountant, and with a remarkable twist, he is also a skilled software developer and with expertise in foreign remittance advisory and a track record of developing cloud-based solutions for major organizations using Python and blockchain. He is at the forefront of innovation, and his work in automation, visualization, and financial analytics is truly commendable. And we are excited to have him here and to learn from his informative session. So please welcome C. Deepak Syal sir.
Hello everyone. Hope I'm audible to everyone. Akashdeep, am I audible? Just wanted to confirm.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay, thank you very much. So first of all, good evening, everyone, and thanks, Akashdeep, for wonderful introduction. And I would like to thank the whole DAP committee and CA Charanjot Singh Nandaji and Niharji for giving me this opportunity here. To start with, I would like to first give just a background of my career growth or what I am into my profession. I've started my profession with my basically in a job, but then I moved on automation side, and from past few years I'm basically working as a Python developer as well as foreign remittance expert for a few organizations. We are also working on blockchain and AI technology. Uh, Anvay sir has very well touched upon AI and I think data science. I think that was a great presentation, sir. Very knowledgeable, and I've learned a lot. My personal view is that I've learned a lot from that. I was hoping to start with like what is AI, but as Anveji has already covered that in his presentation, so I think maybe I'll try to cover all the practical aspects of that. So just to start with, I think there was a question, and one of the point which was raised in Anveji's slide is that whether AI or machine learning or data science is like a threat to a job. Again, my view is again same as Anveji. One quote which comes into my mind on this is the what Bill Gates had said, that the computers are invented to solve the problem which were not in existence earlier. So it has happened in the past also, it's happening now also. So it's not that jobs will go, it's that new jobs will be created and much more jobs will be created. That's what my experience is, that was my learning is. And just to start with, I was just thinking of starting with the cloud of understanding what comes in your mind, what comes in the mind of our audience when we think about AI. And that's what my topic is here today. So, but I think it's already been touched upon, and a lot of havoc is going about like from past 1 year on Chat GPT. And as an I would say as a layman, Chat GPT is one of the synonym of AI now. Everyone uses. So my presentation would also be coming around on that only, and but I will try to cover more other tools which we can use to basically implement AI in our day-to-day accounting as well as auditing practice. And that's what I also use in some of the use cases. So without wasting much of the time, I'll share my screen. Yes. Hope this is visible to everyone. Okay, so just to start with here, there's a first slide, if everyone can see here, just to give a flavor of AI to everyone. It's not really relevant to what we are here as a core topic here, but this is the pic of my parents actually. And you can see on the left hand side of my screen is the pic which was very small. It was old days pic, like around I think 20 to 30 years back in a black and white. And with just two clicks on a photo.com, it's not a sponsored one, but again, it's a photo.com is a tool. You can also use it. With just two clicks, this photo has become 20x larger, and now it is colorized, and you can see how beautiful it has been done. Like if I would have gone to any professional for doing this, it would have cost me like a large bucks, but AI has done it for free. So maybe you can also try it. And I think I just wanted to give you flavor like how AI has revolutionized our world today. And the task which was quite impossible few years back, now it's just 2 clicks away. Moving further on a presentation side only, just to cover up a very few theory portion, like what is ChatGPT? Okay, the genesis of ChatGPT. We all know that it was launched in near November 2022, and there were founders which started in 2015. Sam Altman, we all know Elon Musk, and few others. And now again, Elon Musk is also not part of not with ChatGPT anymore. By this, I'll just pause my presentation here, and maybe I'll just move to the practical aspects of what is like how we can use ChatGPT, and maybe some tools which we can use on our day-to-day basis, which we can improvise in like our auditing and accounting practice. So jumping onto the screen, I'll open my ChatGPT window, and again, just to mention, it's 3.5 now. Those who don't know, ChatGPT offers 3.5 as a free version, and there is a ChatGPT 4 version. You can see it's logged now. I did purchased it earlier, but now I think it's not required for me. I have analyzed that ChatGPT 4, the $20 a month, is not really required. But yeah, it's very. There are few benefits of it. I would say, like, I will also cover it here in my presentation. Also, you can. You can try it, but I would say if it's not beneficial, maybe you can use other tools also. I'll try to cover all the free tools today, so that everyone can use the AI at its full capacity without paying a penny. That's my actually target for the today. So again, ChatGPT, as I mentioned, ChatGPT 4 has few upgrades and few very good features, which I would give the alternate tools today, which can be used instead of like paying $20 a month to OpenAI for the same. So here, like as we already discussed, it's a kind of a chatbot. What ChatGPT is actually a generative AI, basically working on a transformer model, as Anveji has rightly or very deliberate, very detailed, in detail explained. And again, definitely all the data science background and analytics, which has been a lot of work which has been done to build this particular kind of model. It's really a tremendous job which has been done by OpenAI, and which has like transformed the industry today. So just before starting, I think I would like to cover a few more things. There has been always a question that whether ChatGPT is safe or not. Definitely, I would not recommend to give any critical information of a client or personal information on a ChatGPT, because ChatGPT says that of course the information which gives to ChatGPT, the ChatGPT is trained on that particular information only. But when we read the ChatGPT paper, it also mentions that it basically anonymizes the information. It does not basically gives the names or maybe the critical information to train the transformer model which they have. But to take a preventive measure, I think we can just avoid giving a very critical information. Maybe we can avoid names, we can avoid account information, and those type of critical information which we think can be harmful putting on a public platform. So there is an option on a ChatGPT here. You can go here and see on a setting, there is an option called data control. Here you can see they have given option chat history and training. So if you want, we can just deselect it, and as per ChatGPT, our data will not be used for training the model. It says it, but we don't know whether it really does that or not. But we can use it. I don't really use it because it also removes the histories of chat. I really like the histories which are there in the chat, because those are like a type of a data set which I've saved, and I just go there back and just provide the new information to ChatGPT for giving me the further details. And also, there has been one more option in the ChatGPT, which is on a plus model only, which I'll cover afterwards. Just to start here with, let's see how ChatGPT can help us. Like, for example, we are starting an audit engagement, and we need a detail or maybe a structure of the internal audit engagement. So maybe I'll ask provide. I'll just write, as in we discuss with the human, provide and detailed internal audit plan for good transport agency in India. And you can see it starts giving me the response. I'm working on a free version right now. For me, I have not observed any very much difference in ChatGPT 4 and ChatGPT 3.5. So I normally use ChatGPT 3.5 as a free version only. So see, it has provided me a fine-tuned structure of it, but is it really a worth, like, is it really like everything which we have? No, definitely it's not there. So one thing needless to mention, that the AI is just to help us. It's not like it's not providing us the complete information. We cannot blindly rely on AI tool, but you can see how it has provided me basically a initial structure when I start with an audit engagement. Or maybe I can ask ChatGPT, maybe provide me. Okay, one of the beauty of the ChatGPT is that when I put a follow-up chat on it, it basically corresponds to the previous chat also. It's like it remembers all the conversation which we are having on a particular chatbot, basically on a particular chat tab. So I'll say provide me an format for detailed engage. Sorry, I cannot see. Let me just remove this one. Okay, yeah. Now ChatGPT is providing me basically a complete format for an engagement letter, which I can directly like give it to the client. Like, one of the beauties of ChatGPT is very good in drafting. It can provide you a structure of detailed documents like management representation letter, your mails, your like it's in a very formal and very formal tone. You can also when you're writing a mail to a client, or maybe to any of your teammates, or any of maybe in a public forum also, you can ask ChatGPT to redraft your emails. I personally do it basically. So it helps a lot in any I would say in my day-to-day work basically. So you can just ask here. Or going further here, I'll maybe let me just delete it and I'll start a new chat. Here I showed that it has given me, you must have heard about a term called prompt engineering. So prompt engineering is how you should ask a good question to ChatGPT so that it can give you a right answer. So similar prompt, for example, when I asked, provide me that the detailed internal audit plan for one of our client, which is in goods transport agency, there is a tool known as Prompt Perfect. So I'll maybe you can jot it down: promptperfect.jina.ai/prompts. So you can just go to this particular URL, and this again is a totally free tool, and you can use it for improvising your prompt. So for example, this was something which I asked it. I'll just retype it here. Original prompt: generate a detailed plan for internal audit of goods transport agency. When I press enter, oops. Just a second. Yeah. When I press enter, it will give me it will not search on ChatGPT. It will give me a prompt which I can ask ChatGPT, so that I'll get a much better result which I got in my initial ask. So it's now creating a prompt for me. It will take a few minutes for that. Meanwhile, maybe I'll just show you the similar result which I asked it today. I'll just copy it and I'll just again go to the ChatGPT and I'll paste the same. So you can see what it's doing. It's saying that your task is to create a detailed plan of conducting an internal audit of a goods transport agency. The plan should be outlined, the key steps, procedures, and areas to be covered during. So it is giving a detailed prompt. Like, see how this AI works. Basically, the right question you ask, the more refined result it will give. So instead of just asking in a one-liner, we can give a refined question so that we can find a very rightful answer for that. For example, if I ask ChatGPT about this, see now the result is much more specific and much more precise and in detailed manner also. So this is another way from which we can increase the efficiency while using a ChatGPT. This prompt, I'll also like needless to mention, this prompt perfect. The one who has already purchased a premium version of ChatGPT, there is an extension, there's a plugin of ChatGPT called Prompt Perfect, which normally we used together with ChatGPT 4, which is a paid version. But again, if we want to avoid a paid version, we can just go on a Prompt Perfect, and just it's a one step extra, and just you can ask here about your prompt, and you can copy paste it there, and you can ask go to ChatGPT to ask the same. See again, it has given me another prompt which I can go and ask to ChatGPT as well. So one more again. Okay, so this is one thing. Now most of the time we don't require like this in a documentation, because when we go to the client, we normally, like when we go in the meeting, we require it to be in a pictorial form. Like we want like something to be presented in a flow chart or something. So when we use a premium version of ChatGPT, there is a tool called diagram. There is a plugin called diagram, which we can directly use there and ask ChatGPT to create a diagram. But I'll show you how can you tweak it, and I think that will be instead of using that plugin, I think this is more flexible, and I can play with the basically the particular diagram also. So there is another tool called, which is draw.io. Let me just open it. I think I've already opened a tab. Okay, so there is a tab called, I'll open one more page. There is a tab. There is a tool called draw.io. You can just go to the Google and just type draw.io. And when you open it, so this is an online flowchart maker basically. Okay, discard this. See, this is an online open source flowchart maker. Normally, what you can do, as you go in a PowerPoint or a Word, you can just create manually, you can create a flowchart here as well. But I'll tell you a tweak, a very beautiful tweak, which I normally use, is you can just go to the ChatGPT. For example, we ask for audit plan, and I'll just ask, please, or maybe just provide, what was the name of the, so just a second. Yeah. So provide plant UML code for sale. So plant UML is a language. So there are multiple languages in which flowchart diagrams can be written. So plant UML or Mermaid, there are two languages which works on the draw.io. You can use it, and you can just directly, when it completes, you don't need to understand the code. I think you just need to copy here, and you will go to the plus sign here. You will go to the advanced, and you will click on the plant UML. Here you will just remove this code and paste what you have copied from the ChatGPT, and just press insert. Oops, there is an error. What has happened? Okay, this is again an example. So ChatGPT or any AI tool doesn't always gives you right answer. So there is always option to regenerate, and let's see whether it gives me a right answer or not. Or maybe I'll show you the use case which I have already done earlier. So just copy here, and again I'll go there and layout, sorry, advanced, plant UML, and insert. Okay, it's giving a syntax error. So maybe what we can do, we can go in an alternate manner. we will edit this link. So you can in ChatGPT, you can just go to the previous chat and you can just edit your chat as well, and it will give you the result again. So I'll just, instead of asking the plant UML, I'll ask the mermaid code. Let's see. Please provide earlier when ChatGPT started, it was quite a slow processor, but now ChatGPT 3.5 is working, I think, more faster. In some of the cases I've seen, it's more faster than ChatGPT 4 as well. And ChatGPT 4 has limitations. So I have now taken the mermaid code and let's try whether it's working. Great. So it's right now it's unreadable because it has given me on a horizontal format, but I can just go and edit the same also. Maybe I can just click on one and then move it wherever I like, and then maybe I can just then export it. Or maybe I can again go back and ask ChatGPT, please provide above in vertical format. So one of the beauty of AI is, and particularly for ChatGPT, is it remembers your previous chats. So there is no need to again and again give prompts of the historical data which you have already extracted. So I'll go back again here and let's try. So sometimes you have to try 2-3 times for getting a right result, but sometimes you get it. Let's setting A is something wrong here again. Let me just show you what I have already done. This is a trial for this. Okay, so see, this kind of chart I normally got when I got the result from the ChatGPT. Maybe sometimes you need to try two to three times. There are some problems, or maybe you can just go there and you can just try to edit the code also if you know the language. It's mostly in the readable format only. Like for example, I'll just see. So there is some error in the parent A. So maybe we can just try to delete it, or maybe we can just do a hit and trial here, or maybe we can say what error chat it's giving. So let's copy this error and then give it to ChatGPT. Let's try. I'll not waste much of a time. Getting error. Now ChatGPT will try to resolve the error. Okay, it's taking quite a while. Let's just hopefully it works now. Let's see. Otherwise, we'll jump over to the next topic because I don't want to cover this in our whole presentation. Let's see. Oops, again error. Okay. But I'll give you another example, which I did it today. Okay. So for example, there is a code which I have with me. I'll just show you what I did. So there is a project which I did as a part of our TDS TDS calculation working on dividend. So there is a complete step which we have on for the tool which we have created, and this is on Excel. You can see here. So we have written the complete outline here. Now this is quite messy. I want when I share this with client or my team, I want it to be in a flow chart. So what I did, I went to ChatGPT. I just pasted this. I asked provide me the mermaid code for this. When I asked initially, it provided the mermaid code. There was some error. I asked it, same here like as we did today. Then I went there and I asked, okay, provide me the plant UML code for the same. It provided me the code. I went there, I pasted the code, and you can see the result. Let me just move. You can see the result here. See how beautifully it has presented in the flowchart format, like how like check the data, convert in the uppercase, determine the last row, and then whether pen is valid, make pen mark it as pen not available or available. Like see, this is how beautiful it is presented. If I have to do this in it manually, it would have taken for me or my team to maybe like 2 to 3 hours of work, like to make it in the Word or PPT format. But for ChatGPT, like it took me around 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes when I did. But yeah, sometimes it throws an error, but you have to see like, okay, what can be the best way when to ask it, or maybe as we know that ChatGPT or maybe any tool doesn't always give the right result. So you just have to maybe clear the chat. Maybe, for example, if I say now it has given me very wrong results for multiple times, maybe I can just delete the chat here and maybe start a fresh chat. Sometimes it works on that way as well. Okay, so this is one thing, and there are few other tools also which I like to highlight. So another tool which I think is very useful when I use ChatGPT as a free version. So I'll show you. So there is a plugin where there's a Chrome plugin called AIPRM. So here it is installed. When I click on it, okay, just let me just I'll refresh my ChatGPT. I've started this extension, and I'll just refresh my ChatGPT, and hopefully it should take up. Yeah, see, the whole screen of ChatGPT has changed now. This is a tool called AIPRM. It's quite useful. Like as I mentioned, there is a tool called Prompt Perfect. But if you don't want to go there and like literally ask for the prompt every time, you can just use this particular tool, which is really helpful when you are asking anything from ChatGPT. Like you are getting anything, maybe you can type activity here. You can ask for plans, response, summarize. Like I need to summarize something, you can ask. So there are many use case. For example, you can ask to analyze the website, like many things. So when we write here the particular question which we did already, like for example accounting, maybe I'll ask, I put the that particular prompt here again, which I already did with prompt perfect. Let me just, and let's try here how the result is different from the earlier one. So you can see the results again are much more better from the result which we started as the first, like that was which we asked in our first prompt without any extension or without prompt perfect. You can see it's much more detailed, because when you're sending this prompt, it's again going back. The tool is working from the back end, and it's not giving a plain prompt to the ChatGPT. It's basically giving a refined prompt as we did in the prompt perfect also, and therefore we are getting a good result from that. And maybe in other use case also you can try this. Maybe provide an detailed engage, or maybe I would say management representation letter or same. Now it will provide me the complete format, basically a skeleton of the management presentation letter. Of course, there will not be numbers here. There will not be a very particular information which is specific to client, and we avoid giving that information here also to the ChatGPT, but it gives a very fine-tuned structure where we can use, and we can save a lot of our time here. So that's again another use case. and few more. Let me just first close this one because I don't need to work on this particular extension for now. I'll go to the new chat, and this is my again back to our plain ChatGPT. Now, not restricting everything to ChatGPT, there are other tools also in the market which we can use for our basically analysis, or maybe summarizing the tasks. So there is one more tool which is called getcody.ai. So this is again a free tool. The beauty of this tool is like what we can do here is there is a tab called knowledge here. Here, as I did here already, so I have like uploaded the PDF file of auditing standards. For example, I'll just go to the Google and maybe type auditing standards PDF. As I did, there is a PDF of auditing standards. And I can just download it here, which I've already did, and you can just upload it from directly from here. You can just click to upload, and you can just upload the file. It will take few minutes to upload. So therefore, I've already done for you. Similarly, I have like uploaded for FEMA regulation. I was just checking something about a FEMA as well. And then you can go to the chatbot, and you can just start a new conversation, and maybe ask Cody that which so what it's doing, it's again it's attached to the ChatGPT API only, where it's basically getting the information out of the documents which you have already uploaded to that. Okay, so I'll ask, okay, which auditing standard was the fraud detection. Let's see whether it finds or not. So that shall inquire. Okay, so what is the auditing standard that covers fraud detection is mentioned in the document from the folder. The standard said the auditor shall make inquiries and perform procedure to identify and respond to the risk of fraud relevant and objective. They shall maintain. Okay, so it has given the full context of that, but yeah, it hasn't given me the number. Maybe it has not been specifically mentioned in the document, but yeah, we got something from it. Like if you need to research on a PDF file, on a document, or a knowledge base which we already have, we can very well use this tool. Maybe we have some internal policies which we can create a chatbot out of it. You can also create bots out of it. I have not done it personally, but you can just directly create bots from here as well, and maybe or directly use it from the chat box as well. So this is also a very good tool which can be used. Maybe we can upload, for example, I did it for FEMA as well. We can upload the FEMA Act here complete, and maybe we can try to extract some information out of it. I will not say again, it's not giving a very always a very right answer, but we have some ideas. Okay, how maybe instead of searching a whole document, we can get something like if you want to just find something from the document, we can just get it from the here. If you have a very big document, that's really helpful. Sometimes it's really helpful. So this is again another tool, and moving further, there is one more tool which is I want to cover here is, which is for example, I go to any website or like standard auditing again, standard auditing, or maybe I'll go to the cleartext.com. Let's go here and maybe go to the agreeing on the terms of engagement. Okay, so standard auditing 210, and we know everything is covered here, but like we need to find something out. Although this website is not, this particular page is not that big, but sometimes we need to get out of that page or get out of this clear text domain something which we like. For example, as we know, ChatGPT cannot search over the internet. But what if we want something from the ICI website, or something from the ClearText website? So there is a plugin called, which is known as Perplexity. So I've installed the Perplexity here. You can see the icon of it. So you can just go there. It's again a free plugin, and you can directly install it from the Chrome store. You can, when you open this particular plugin, you can see here there is a focus button where it asks whether we need to search on this page or maybe this domain. We will right now we try to search on this domain. So instead of writing anything, I'll just click the button summarize. What it will do, it will summarize the page. See. Now what it has done, it has summarized the content of the page for us. So instead of reading the complete page, we have a very handful summary here, which we can just directly copy and use it like to share it with our team or something. And maybe if we know, like for example, there is something which is not covered here, maybe in this domain, we can write the domain also. It will again summarize everything. It is not really coming out a right answer, but maybe in the domain like cleartext.in, we can research what standard on auditing covers. Again, the same question, for example, covers fraud detection. See, it's given the standard auditing that covers the fraud detection is SA 240, the auditor responsibility relating to the fraud and auditing financial statement. It is also giving us the references from where it got the information. For example, here we have one, which is in the footer. We can just click here also, or here it will open the tab from where this information is extracted, and then again further for all the information, it has reference points attached to the same. So this is also again a very good plugin which we can use in our like to summarize or maybe to fasten our task when we are researching anything over the internet or over any particular website or over the domain. And talking about Perplexity, so there is this Perplexity actually has a complete website also, which is again perplexity.ai. And again, it is a very beautiful, I would say, an alternate to the ChatGPT paid version, where you can, like as we know, ChatGPT doesn't search over the internet. That's a disadvantage of ChatGPT, and it's only available in the premium version, which is the paid version. You can, but Perplexity has crossed that border, and here you can just search over the internet also. Like for example, I've just a few hours back, I've done this research. Let me just copy the same only, or I will show you. For example, this I'll do. What I've asked here is search over the internet and provide the relevant spelling is wrong, relevant case laws for section 44AD of the Income Tax Act. If we would have asked the same from ChatGPT, let's do it and see what ChatGPT gives and what this particular tool is giving to us. Okay, so it is giving something. Earlier, I did ask ChatGPT. It said that okay, I cannot search over the internet. So you can really rely on that. Okay, but it's giving that to find the relevant case laws. Unfortunately, you may consider following. Okay, so it's giving me step by step. Okay, you can go to the legal database and consult the tax consultant and go to the government website. But when we do it here on the Perplexity, we can just click. We can just try. Let's do. And what it will do, it will search over the internet and provide me some of the case law. This here, okay, so unfortunately the search result did not provide any specific case law related to section 40 or 80. So unluckily it hasn't given, but it has given me sources. But if I go to my threads earlier, which I have already asked, let me just show you. So this one, see when I asked same question from Perplexity earlier, maybe it takes 2 or 3 times, or maybe you can research the result. Here are some relevant cases for section 44AD, CIT versus Sundarlal Paul, and guidance note on tax audit. So it has given us some information, and again it has also given us the references point of that information. So it has taken out it from the ClearText website or GoDigit website or Scriptbox. So there are the reference points for every information it has collated for us, and I think this is one of the advantage over the disadvantage which is in the ChatGPT, and we can use as an alternate option for ChatGPT. We can use Bard also for the same. Bard is again a AI bot which is provided by Google, and it has been launched in India around few months back. So, but again, personally, I don't prefer Bard because that doesn't really have a good drafting skills, and it is not the answers are not accurate all the time. Like the confidence level of the result which Bard provides does not really is I think it's very low. Like it has personally happened to me many times. So I don't personally refer Bard. Bard can be used to maybe get very updated information like we normally get from the Google. So I think Google is much better than Bard basically on that front. So this is again another tool, Perplexity, which I did wanted to share with everyone so that this can be used as a alternate to the ChatGPT, and I think one of the beautiful tool. Okay, now going back again, one of the premium feature which was again a very beautiful feature of the premium version of ChatGPT 4, which was a code interpreter, where you get a plus sign over here, where you can just upload your files and maybe analyze the data from that particular file. So that was a really very good tool which was embedded in the ChatGPT. What it does basically, there is a Python interpreter embedded at the backend of the ChatGPT. It basically gets your data and runs Python code over it and analyze the data. Now, because it's not available in 3.5, let's see, there is again alternate for the same. As I mentioned, sorry. Perplexity. Let me just open it. Where it gone? Yeah, here. So the Perplexity again gives us a plus sign over here. For example, I'll start a new thread, and maybe I'll just attach a file over here. So, but it has a limit of 25 MB. So I have downloaded just a sample data from the kaggle.com. So this is a restaurant business ranking to 2020. This was a small data. That's why I just downloaded it so that we can just see how it is running. So I'll just take out a top 50 CSV file where like it has a restaurant business ranking of top 50 restaurants, and I'll just ask it analyze the attached file, analyze the data of attached file. Okay, and let's see what it gives. So it has given me the each row, like what is the row, what is the name and everything, like similar to how ChatGPT runs. Maybe let's try asking provide key analysis of the data. Let's see how it works. Okay, so fast casual restaurants are growing. The data shows the many of the fastest growing restaurants chain are the fast casual category. Pizza is the popular cuisine. Steak houses are performing well. See, that's again a very much visual. So we were talking about data analytics, and I think that's what we require also. I would not recommend sharing the personal clients critical information here, but if we want a very handful analysis of a big data, like big chunk of data which we are having in an Excel format or any other format, CSV format, we can just provide the same to maybe a prepaid version of ChatGPT or maybe the Perplexity which we are just discussing right now, and it will give us the a high level preview, high level analysis of the data. Like it's normally we would have to go to the data, create some pie charts or a data charts, a visualization to analyze the data, and then only we can come out with this kind of analysis. But if you want something on a quick basis, you can just refer these tools, AI tools, which will help you get the information in more faster manner basically, and a more precise manner. So this is again a very beautiful tool which can be used to analyze the data and and as an alternate for ChatGPT. I think this is one of the best tool which is running nowadays and overcoming the ChatGPT. But again, ChatGPT has few advantages. It can analyze as well as it can provide you it can process the data as well, which I think is not available in Perplexity as of now. It cannot process the data, but ChatGPT can process the data. I personally didn't require it much because as I mentioned, I'm a Python developer, so I use it directly using the Python only, and it gives more accurate result to me. As you know, AI doesn't always gives you the accurate result, but yeah, it lessens your task. So normally, when I have to do, I go to the ChatGPT and I just ask ChatGPT to write me a Python code for this particular kind of data, and like it provide me the Python code, and just I can quick fix it for a small work basically. So you can also do it if you really require with very less knowledge of coding. Also, you can do it with the help of ChatGPT. I personally use ChatGPT for my coding on day-to-day basis. So that's really helpful. So that's the Perplexity which I have mentioned. There is and I think I have covered many of them. So there are other good websites, other good AI tools also. One of the AI tool which I would like to share with you is Tom.ai, which is again a very good tool. This is Tom.ai or like Tom.app is right now you're getting, but you can just go to the Google and search for Tom AI, right? And here is the link for the Tom.ai. It is a paid tool, but it's a very I would say a handy tool when you need to prepare a quick presentation. So for example, I just tried to create a presentation today, like just checking this tool. So I just asked, okay, create a presentation for using like impact on internal audit on artificial intelligence. So it has, within few seconds, it has created this particular 10 slider PPT for me. Although I would not say like this is a final version, but if you require a very handy PPT or like the formatting and the pictorial has already been done, so you can just use this tool. And for example, I'll just show you. I'll just try again. So just like as I mentioned, how to use artificial intelligence on auditing and accounting, or maybe I'll just change the topic and I'll say how to use blockchain on auditing and accounting. And now it's generating the outline again from the ChatGPT. See, now it has created the outline. Like what is blockchain, benefits of blockchain auditing. So these are outline. You can also try, if you want, you can change the outlines here. Like these will be the pages, and then you can just press the continue button. Okay, my 300 credits has been expired, so it's asking me to upgrade. So, but you can see the backend, it's generating the complete PPT, which you will see in a few seconds. And what it's doing, it's getting the information, the outlines and the information from ChatGPT and the images from DALL-E basically. So DALL-E is again an AI tool which generates images on the basis of the prompts. So you can basically the DALL-E is embedded into this particular tool. If you want, you can also use it, but it's not really useful in our profession. So see how it has completely created a 10 sliders for us. And if you want, like, you can just purchase some credits and you can download it. So for first, I think for new registration, around 500 credits are given. So you can just use those credits and you can just download and then you can register with some other ID as well. So this is something very good. Okay, so yeah, I can show you this. So this is the presentation which it has created in few seconds. See the powerful images which has attached with the topics, or maybe when we have created the outline also, right? You can change the outline also if you want, and then it will create images according to the outline only. So this is again a very good tool when we need to create a theme of presentations for some ready-made topics basically. And then I think most of them I've already covered. And I think Prompt Perfect and this Perplexity is a very, very good tool which can be used as an alternate to ChatGPT. And I think this is a game changer. Draw.io, which I think I personally use, is really, really great. Sometimes it glitches with the code, but again, with few tries, you can just get the right code and see, this was on a one go only. This was on a one go, and it is very beautiful. I'm really practically using it for my work, and I've attached it with my file which I share with my clients as well. So that's how you can use artificial intelligence in our day-to-day life. I think that's what like my use case are as well. Apart from this, I practically use it for detailed coding as well. Like as I mentioned, I'm a Python developer, so for Python it's really good, and I think it provides a very most of the time, 80% of the time, accurate code. Some 20% definitely debugging has to be done. If some of us are coder, and then definitely AI is ChatGPT or Perplexity is one of the game changer for us, for all the software developers as well. And then, so there are some known application, as we mentioned, as we discussed, like Siri, Alexa. Like AI is not new to us, as Anveji has already portrayed that we have already using in GPS, we are already using in Google Maps, Yahoo Maps. So these are already part of our life. So we are already using artificial intelligence in our life, but now the usage has become has expanded a lot, and I think this is something which is must. We need to adapt in our life so that we can move further, and when we can come up with the speed how industry is growing. Like one of the example, like today only I got a call from one of my client, and he just asked me, and it's actually a real story. He just asked me that my actually I need to go digitally now I need to get everything, all my task and everything digitally, all the tracking and everything should be on a digital platform. So what's your suggestion on that? Like he was just asking my suggestion. And of course, because now, whether you're small, whether you're a big organization, this is the need of the hour. You have to go, you have to use the technology, you have to adapt the technology, and because it's quite moving faster and faster. Whether AI is always accurate. So that's, I think that point I've already mentioned also, but I thought to cover here. AI is not always accurate. Most of the time, we get I think what I should say, that we use it for our help, and we can just have a good structure of what we are trying to do. For example, in a coding as well, there are some bugs when sometimes when the AI gives result, but you should know the context. You should know what you are asking, and you should know what is the result, so that you can improvise it. But the unproductive task, the which was earlier, like earlier we have to do everything from the scratch, that has not to be done now, because everything is now that is taken care by AI. The unproductive task is taken care by AI, as Anveji has rightly said, that it's now augmentative. So it's not artificial intelligence, it's augmented intelligence, because now it is helping us. Like it's not that it's replacing us, or it's something which is which is bad, or which is changing the world, but it's like we are moving to more productive work, more analytical work, rather than working on an unproductive side. Like that's what RP has also done when it came, and now artificial intelligence is also doing that only. But yeah, there are some challenges also, like because you can see there are some popular cases, like for example, here you can see there was a photo of our athletes, and through the AI they have like covered it, and like they had converted it and with a smiling face, and it has created a lot of misconception in the media as well. So again, there are challenges, there are security risk also. Therefore, as a professional, there is an risk, again an opportunity for us, for moving toward the stringent cyber security, making more basically our IT audits basically strong, basically adding the IT professionals to our team basically. So this is, I think, need of the hours, and this is really required, which I personally suggest, because this is the need of the hour, and in the future is IT only. So therefore, we cannot say that okay, we don't. For example, we don't cover IT portion, or without knowing IT, we can do the audit, because because now the client will be 100% digitally or maybe 80% digitally. Then we need to understand all these techniques, and we should know how to use these techniques to give right advice to them and do our professional work on a rightful manner basically. And I think this is something which I've already covered, and I guess that's what I think the whole portion which I think which I planned for the day, and hopefully you have learned something from my sharings, and maybe you can contact me if there is any requirement, or maybe any understanding you need, which maybe we have missed for the today, and we can take up the session for Q&A as well right now. Anvej is also with us. Over to you, Jay.
Hi, sir. So we have a question. It is the question is what is the interpretation technique available? What is the interpretation technique for available data for audit?
What is the
interpretation technique available for audit?
I think maybe I didn't rightly understood interpretation technique for the audit.
Yeah.
Maybe Anveji, if you want to cover this, can you please explain your question, Modi? What is
Yeah, I did not understand that either.
It is, I guess, not posted fully. It is a half question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interpretation technique for the audit.
Interpretation technique for available data for audit.
I still didn't understand the question. Maybe on a right manner. Maybe you wanted to understand that how to interpret that audit data. Is this the question you want to ask? Like, because as I mentioned, like the data which we have. Okay, maybe I think your question is on that way, that the data analysis what we are doing. Can we use AI tools for interpreting the data? Is that the question?
Maybe that's the question.
So as I mentioned, see, there are tools, for example, ChatGPT 4, which I mentioned, which is not really required when we have perplexity. You can just use without sharing the client critical information. You can upload the data, and you can just analyze the data from the perplexity, as I showed you. And also you can use ChatGPT if data is not large. You can use ChatGPT to your reconciliation as well. You can provide the ChatGPT your data, and like ChatGPT or maybe some other AI tool can help to classify or maybe interpret the data, what like the word you're using for the same as well.
Okay, and the other question is, are additional skills or learning required for using data visualization tools?
For data
visualization tools.
Okay, so okay, I'll try to answer on this. I think Anveji will be the best to answer on this question. So additional skills, of course, there are, as Anveji has mentioned, there are Power BI, as well as there is a Tableau, and then ClickView. There are many tools in the market which are very good tools for data visualization right now. Personally, I would say for using Power BI, it's a very friendly tool. You don't require very much skills. You can start with a zero also. You can just upload the data there, and you can try if you know Excel, like you have tried, you have created charts on Excel. You can just try simple charts there. So simple charting is not an issue, but yet if you want to create powerful dashboard, reports using, like as Anveji mentioned, there are your data is in SQL or other format, then definitely you need to understand how different techniques, how can you extract the information out of the data, and you can rightly use different kind of mechanism which are built in this tool, or maybe some down the line you can use coding also, and definitely in coding ChatGPT or maybe Perplexity also can help you on that also, to use coding or maybe some advanced features to extract the information and create the powerful visualization, which is really helpful for the top basically CFOX basically. Anvaj, if you want to cover additional on this.
Yeah, I think Deepak covered it correctly. Power BI is probably more prevalent in the accounting and audit community because the way Power BI came into existence was an advanced form of Excel. So when you are doing Excel spreadsheets, right? There was, so even if you go into Excel right now and if you click on the like insert and charts, it gives you the option to create good visuals, but then it's limited to that Excel file. If you want to be able to share that visualization with other users, that's where Power BI helps. So Power BI's concept is you can create reports and distribute it to multiple users. In Excel, you can't do that. So that's where if you know Excel, it's comparatively easy to do Power BI, and it doesn't need much coding skill. Basic reports don't need coding skills. If it's very advanced reports, too much complexities, too much connecting the dots, that's where Power BI does need a little bit of coding skills. But no, I think there's no. So a lot of people. So that's where a lot of business analysts also develop visualization skill. It's not necessarily coders or programmers who get into data visualization. It's a lot of the business analysts who get into data visualization, because the big benefit is, or the reason why data visualization is successful is for the end users. It's not for the programmer. So if you are preparing like a dashboard or a visual or a chart for a finance group, for the CFO or the sales guy, it's easier for the business user, as in it's business for the finance analyst to get understand what the CFO or the CIO is looking for, right? It's very difficult for a programmer to see that. So a lot of visualization gets into the business analyst realm, not so much the coding game. That's why I said, even in my presentation, a lot of the data engineering, extracting the data, transforming the data, and loading it into the warehouse is really the data engineering. After that, a lot of business analysts or data analysts take over the visualization part.
Thank you, sir. One more thing I would like to add on this only. So just on a layman term, so Power BI has like especially Power BI has an inbuilt AI functionality into that as well. Maybe it's not a Power BI presentation right now, but maybe you can just download the Power BI and you can just check. There is a button for AI also, so you can just ask. After uploading the data, you can ask Power BI to provide you some charts or some presentation just by just typing typing ChatGPT, and it will give you ready-made visualization for that as well. So you can do that also. Like you can just try that.
Okay, so the next question is, how can auditors leverage big data analytics to detect anomalies and patterns that may indicate fraudulent activities or errors in financial transactions?
So yeah, Deepak, if you want to.
Yeah, sure, sir. I think this is what you're topping only.
Yeah, so big data really gets into, if you remember my presentation, I mean, there's three types of data. One is structured data, which comes from typically like ERP systems or Tally or those kind of systems. Second is unstructured data, which comes from like XML files and JSON files. And third is structured, semi-structured, and unstructured. Unstructured is like text. Now, big data, the way big data is interpreted is mostly going into the unstructured, because big data is more used by companies like by what Facebook and LinkedIn and so on, because it's very unstructured. So if you want to analyze the comments or the responses, right, that's where big data gets in, and then it gets into semi-structured data. But financial entries, if you think about it, are mostly structured. They generally do not come in an unstructured manner. At the most, they might come in a semi-structured, and if it is semi-structured, yes, big data is there. And if you want to analyze big data, which is the concept of a key value pair, right, it's not that there will always be 5 fields. There might be 3 fields, there might be 4 fields. You will That's where SQL will not help you, or I don't think Power BI can help you. But there are third-party tools like MongoDB, right? MongoDB is kind of a software that is mainly used for semi-structured data. I think you'll have to learn that to apply any kind of anomaly analytics in kind of big data, semi-structured data, such as and that's where MongoDB, and there's others. I mean, I've used MongoDB, but I don't know others. There are competing tools for MongoDB that you'll have to learn.
And also on the AI part on that, like as I mentioned, like same Perplexity as well as GPT-4 has an option to add the data to it and analyze the data. As I showed you, you can use the forensics models, which I think which we are in forensics practice. We know the different kind of model which we use to try to analyze the data. Maybe you can just provide the data to these AI tools, and you can just ask to run the model instead of running the model by manually on the Excel or any other tool, like on I'm not getting the name of the tool, but yeah, there are different tools in the market. So instead of running it to them, you can, or maybe using Python for that, or bare code Python for that, you can just provide this information, not a critical information, to the Chat GPT or the Perplexity, and they can run these models, the forensics model, on those information and provide you with the results as well. So that will be a very quick fix. Not, of course, if the big data, I don't know how on big data whether it will be capable of capturing the big data or not, because the data would be, I think, in terabytes or maybe in a GBs. So, but if data is small, you can use it on that.
And so the next question is how to interpret the statistical analysis like regressional analysis.
That's your question, sir. Not mine.
Sorry, say that again, Akashdeep. I didn't fully get the question.
How to interpret the statistical analysis like regression analysis.
Interpret. So I think regression analysis, correlation is a concept of correlation, which between maths and stats goes into more of the statistical realm. I think you have to learn statistical analysis, then you have to do regression analysis, which is very much relevant in the AI machine learning field. So I think without learning that, it will be difficult for you to kind of interpret it. It's a branch of statistics. So even when you have to go through a data science learning, it's not just coding, right? You have to start, many times they push you to start from understanding statistics. And I think to some extent we have done statistics even in schools and colleges, but this is kind of the advanced level regression. It also uses a lot of hypothesis kind of analytics and so on. So you'll have to learn it. It's not difficult. It just takes you just have to put in some like consistent effort over the weekends to learn regression and hypothesis and so on.
Okay, so we don't have any other questions. That's all.
Okay.
So then I think, Akashji, I think are these only the questions? Do we have any more questions?
No more questions.
Okay. Okay. And
Yeah.
can we conclude for the day then?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So I would like to extend a heartfelt thank you to both of you for an enlightening session during our webinar, and your insights into the latest AI tools have been truly eye-opening and informative. And we appreciate both of you for sharing your expertise with us and keeping us up to date with these exciting advancements in AI. And your contributions have made our webinar a valuable learning experience. So thank you once again.
Thanks for giving us the opportunity.
Same here. Thank you
Okay,
very
cool.
much.